were many Jews in Jerusalem unwilling to accept Paul's teaching about Jesus. Have many churches repented of doctrinal error or stubbornly hardened their hearts? Let's review Acts 23. Did Paul speak plainly to the Jewish council in Jerusalem? Now, looking intently at the council, Paul said, "Brothers, I've lived my life with an entirely good conscience before God up to this day." But the high priest Ananias commanded those standing beside him to strike him on the mouth. Then Paul said to him, "God's going to strike you, you whitewashed wall. Do you sit to try me according to the law, and in violation of the law order me to be struck?" But those present said, "Are you insulting God's high priest?" And Paul said, "I was not aware, brothers, that he is high priest. For it's written, you shall not speak evil of a ruler of your people." Did Paul mention his Pharisee background to stir up the council? Did Jesus appear and encourage him? Then Paul, knowing that some of them were Sadducees and the others Pharisees, called out in the Sanhedrin, "My brothers, I'm a Pharisee, descended from Pharisees. I stand on trial because of the hope of the resurrection of the dead." When he said this, a dispute broke out between the Pharisees and Sadducees, and the assembly was divided. The Sadducees say that there's no resurrection, and that there are neither angels nor spirits, but the Pharisees believe all these things. There was a great uproar, and some of the teachers of the law who were Pharisees stood up and argued vigorously. "We find nothing wrong with this man," they said. "What if a spirit or an angel has spoken to him?" The dispute became so violent that the commander was afraid Paul would be torn to pieces by them. He ordered the troops to go down and take him away from them by force and bring him into the barracks. The following night, the Lord stood near Paul and said, "Take courage. As you've testified about me in Jerusalem, so you must also testify in Rome." Did some members of the council plot to murder Paul? And when it was day, some of the Jews banded together and bound themselves under an oath, saying that they would neither eat nor drink till they'd killed Paul. Now there were more than 40 who had formed this conspiracy. They came to the chief priests and elders and said, "We've bound ourselves under a great oath that we'll eat nothing until we've killed Paul. Now you, therefore, together with the council, suggest to the commander that he be brought down to you tomorrow, as though you were going to make further inquiries concerning him. But we're ready to kill him before he comes near." Who told Paul of the plot? Did he tell the Roman commander? But Paul's nephew, his sister's son, heard of their plan and went to the fortress and told Paul. Paul called for one of the Roman officers and said, "Take this young man to the commander. He has something important to tell him." So the officer did, explaining, "Paul the prisoner called me over and asked me to bring this young man to you because he has something to tell you." The commander took his hand, led him aside, and asked, "What is it you want to tell me?" Paul's nephew told him, "Some Jews are going to ask you to bring Paul before the high council tomorrow, pretending they want to get some more information, but don't do it. There are more than 40 men hiding along the way, ready to ambush him. They've vowed not to eat or drink anything until they've killed him. They're ready now, just waiting for your consent. Don't let anyone know you told me this," the commander warned the young man. What did the commanding officer do with the information provided by Paul's nephew? He called to himself 2 of the centurions and said, "Prepare 200 soldiers to go as far as Caesarea, with 70 horsemen and 200 men armed with spears. At the 3rd hour of the night, he asked them to provide mounts, that they might set Paul on one and bring him safely to Felix the governor." He wrote a letter like this. What was the gist of the letter that the commanding officer sent to the governor? Claudius Lysias, To the most honorable Governor Felix, greetings. This man was seized by the Jews and was almost killed by them. I was nearby with a unit of soldiers, and I rescued him when I discovered that he was a Roman citizen. I wanted to find out why they were accusing him, so I brought him to their council. I discovered that they were accusing him about questions related to their law. I found no charge deserving of death or imprisonment. When I was informed of a conspiracy against his life, I sent him to you at once and ordered his accusers to bring their case against him before you. Did the soldiers then take Paul to Caesarea that very night? The soldiers obeyed the commander's orders, and that same night they took Paul to the city of Antipatris. The next day the foot soldiers returned to the fortress and let the soldiers on horseback take him the rest of the way. When they came to Caesarea, they gave the letter to the governor and handed Paul over to him. The governor read the letter. Then he asked Paul and found out that he was from Cilicia. The governor said, "I'll listen to your case as soon as the people come to bring their charges against you." After saying this, he gave orders for Paul to be kept as a prisoner in Herod's palace. Were many Jews in Jerusalem unwilling to accept Paul's teaching about Jesus? Have many churches repented of doctrinal error or stubbornly hardened their hearts? You decide.